Hey guys, welcome to the Father and Son Ball Club. My name is Manny Ramirez. I'm a longtime sport performance coach. I got to play baseball in college. I've coached for over a decade, and this is my dad.
Stock Ramirez, a longtime baseball lifer, baseball coach, baseball player, and now a scout.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about why your kid's not confident and why it's your fault. All right, guys. So why is it your fault that your kid isn't confident? Let's talk about it. So what are some of those things you've seen as a coach, as a scout, why it's the parents' fault that their athlete's not confident?
Number one thing, accountability. Most important thing, accountability. They want to please them instead of holding them accountable. That's huge.
I think too, that comes from them not wanting to watch their kid fail.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That's a really good point. Nobody wants to see their kid fail.
Right.
As a father, watching you play and understanding when you fail, sometimes I was really hard on you.
Right.
And thinking back about it, I wish, it was a great experience because it's teaching us how to teach other people.
Right.
Through our mistakes.
Right.
But at the same time, it's also a situation that it allowed me to help you as I grew and you grew.
Right.
Because now you're a better person, an individual because of it.
I think, like you said, it comes back to accountability. Because when you take accountability away from the kid, they can't own it anymore. So you're essentially taking their ability to be confident away. That's one aspect of being confident.
Not only that, agreeing with them. Why agree with them? Why not let them, hold them accountable and say, okay, what could you have done better? Right. How could you have been better? Did you do enough during the week to be better?
Right, that's good.
And
that's good.
We don't do that as parents.
Right.
But we're quick to point out and give them a hard time.
Or blame the coach.
Or blame the coach, yeah, which is fair also. But also hold them accountable for other little stuff when they don't get the chores done.
That's true.
So it's if you're gonna do that,
you might as well do it on the baseball field.
You might as well, especially when it's costing you the money that it costs you to play.
Right. So do you have any examples of kids you coached that you've seen where a parent didn't hold their kid accountable and took the ability to be confident away by doing so?
Yes. I can give you one big scenario. I had a kid that I asked him to do something during the game, and it was a play where I wanted him to run, and he didn't want to run. So obviously he failed at the execution.
Right.
And then when he came back into the dugout, I took him out of the game, and he did not like it. In fact, to the point where he actually cursed at me. So when he cursed at me, I told him, now you're going to be suspended.
Right.
And then the parents got mad, and they took the kid off the team.
Wow.
Instead of holding him accountable. Guess what? That kid has no accountability now.
Right.
Because the parents accommodated him instead of looking at the situation. If I would have been treating him unfair, then you can hold me accountable and say so.
Right.
But instead of doing that, they took his side, and now the kid's been bouncing around.
Right.
And it's a shame because the kid had a lot of talent.
Right. So it also, they emboldened him to continue his behavior, right, in a way that would not benefit him, not only on the baseball field, but even in life.
But it's crazy because, I'm a scout, so I go to his actual high school games, and his own coaches told me negative stuff.
The same thing, right?
The same thing that I was dealing when the kid was 12 years old.
Right.
And he's a high school junior at this point.
Yeah.
And they've basically made him a PO only.
Right.
Which the kid has a lot of talent. He's a powerful kid.
Right. Big.
Strong, very strong individual that hits the ball hard.
Right.
But because the parents chose not to hold him accountable and gave in to him, he's not living up to the potential that I thought he could have had.
Right.
Which is crazy because...
That is crazy.
I went back to a game and, I don't care. I let stuff go off my back. He said hi, I said hi. I spoke to the parent. And then he asked me for help. To help him, as far as to get schools. I said, yeah, I will help you. But when I heard the coach speak like that, I'm like, wait a minute, this guy hasn't changed.
Right.
How can I put my name on the line for him?
Right.
When his own coaches won't even put their name on the line for him.
Right. But even if you wanted to help him, you probably couldn't, because when whoever you recommended him to would call his high school coaches,
absolutely,
they wouldn't have very good things to say about him.
Yeah, and that's where the problem lies. By not holding them accountable and not doing what they're supposed to do, now you're not only hurting him, but you're stumping his growth.
Right.
So now it's a chain
Vicious
reaction.
cycle. Right.
Yeah, vicious cycle. Yeah, perfectly way, which hurts and it's sad because again, like I said, the kid was very talented, very smart kid in school.
Right.
Excellent grades and all.
Right. So we talked about one of the times where a kid wasn't held accountable, and so it cost them. What about where a parent did hold a kid accountable, and it helped him?
Well, I'm giving you your scenario. And one day I come home and you asked me, "Are we ready to work?" And I chose to say to you, "No."
Right.
And you thought I was being unfair with you.
Right.
But I always said, you said to me these exact words that I'll never forget. I do whatever you tell me to do. I say, exactly.
So that's the problem.
That's the problem.
I remember.
There. Yeah. And you just can't do what I say. You have to be able to go outside the box, do some research. What am I doing to become better? How am I going to be better?
Right.
You know, and are you trying to become better? Are you trying to seek information to be a better baseball player?
Right.
So when I did that to you, it obviously hurt me. You're my son.
Right.
But I think it set you up to become a better player, better individual, and it allowed you to hold yourself accountable, which where you went and bought a vest.
Right.
You bought a pull-up bar.
Right.
You know, you decided to go and hit off the team more.
Right.
Work off the team.
Right.
Which helped you become a better hitter.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why we're doing these podcasts today.
Right.
Because of those situations. So it's understanding that if you hold your son accountable, instead of just sweeping things under the rug and letting him get away with it, that's how he's going to be able to build confidence too. Because obviously, you can say different ways of building confidence, but ultimately, the confidence builder is when he performs well.
Right.
And he pays attention to detail and does what he's supposed to do, but that only comes through preparation.
Right, and it goes back to our mission, which is not just building better ball players, but building better men. And so, from my point of view, how I received it, like at the time I didn't think it was fair, because I was doing everything that I felt my dad had told me to do, which is true. But he also taught me that I had the power to do more. And by being showed that, I went and did the things he said. I bought a vest. I bought a pull-up bar. I used to go running more often. I hit off the teamwork. That's what I'm saying. The vest.
Yeah.
No, you mentioned it.
Yeah, okay. I thought I did.
So by doing that, it also taught me not only in baseball, but whether it was in college, just to work hard in my classes or at work, whatever opportunities maybe I had to create by going the extra mile and looking for ways to improve my performance at work, in my studies, in my hobbies, whatever the case may be, as a coach, because I coach now as well.
And now I'm going to ask you a question. How's that done for your confidence?
It's done a lot for my confidence because now I know that it's not something that is apart from me. It is something that is within me. I have that thing. I have the ability to make the decision to do more, to try to invest in myself, find the people who are ahead of me, figure out what they're doing, learn from them. I'm not looking at exterior obstacles and saying they're the reasons why I'm not where I want to be. I can look at myself and say I'm not doing enough or haven't taken enough reps. And so I now have the opportunity to take that thing in my own hands and go make the adjustments I need to make in whatever it is I'm pursuing.
And that's where we as parents fail, because we want what's best for the kid,
Right.
our kids. We don't want to see them fail.
Right.
But failure is the best learning opportunity.
Right.
It's through failures when you gain the most, not
Right.
through success. You
Right.
quick to celebrate them,
Right.
why not quick to hold them accountable?
Right.
And that's understanding that when you do that, you're celebrating him. When you hold him accountable, now he has no other choice but to fight.
Right.
And by building a fight in him and making him realize, you know what? Once he achieves it, now he goes, like you said, I'm capable of doing this.
Right.
I really can do this.
Right. What else can I do?
Exactly. And then it comes down to that. It's understanding that, you know, you have to be tough with your kid, loving,
Right.
but at the same time tough. And then when they don't understand, wait for it to cool down a little
Right.
and have that conversation.
Right.
Like what we had.
Right.
We had that conversation. I tell you, yeah, I know you do everything.
Right. And it wasn't an easy conversation.
No, it's not. But
It was a heated, I would say intense conversation.
Yes, but it was one that needed to be done.
Right. I
And
agree.
you know, and let me tell you, my wife is crazy. My wife did not.
She was not happy that day.
She was not happy that day.
She was
All
not
the
happy.
couple days after that. But guess what? Like I said, it helped you build the man you are today.
Right.
And not only that, it forced you to think outside the box. It forced you to say, you know what? And it gave you a chip on your shoulder. I'm going to prove them that I can do it too.
Right.
Which helped your confidence.
A lot. Yeah, it did.
And those are the things that we don't realize.
Right.
We have to realize that we can empower our kids. Yeah, sometimes people say, oh, you're too rough. You went about it the wrong way. But it's try and error, like everything else in life.
Right.
So
can't be scared to fail.
You can't be scared to fail. Exactly. You got to be able to continue.
Right.
And you learn as you go.
Right. You try your best. Best foot forward.
Amen to that.
So we've talked about accountability as one of the ways to increase confidence. So I'm wanting us to focus on another aspect, which is being good at whatever the task is that you need to do. That builds confidence. And I'll give you an example. So I've coached baseball. I've done sport performance coaching, which just means strength and conditioning, speed, explosiveness, all these different things. So I've gotten to be around a lot of different types of athletes from different sports. And you hear the word confidence get tossed around a lot, but people don't really explain what it is. And so you hear coaches or parents tell their kids to be more confident, be more confident, be more confident. But the kid doesn't know where does this confidence come from. And what I've realized, what it comes from is being able to do whatever the task is well. And so this might sound a little funny, but if I ask you to tie your shoes, you're not going to get nervous about it. And it's because you know you can do it. Anything that you know you can do well, you don't get nervous about. And so I think about a line that Derek Jeter said once. When they asked him, do you ever get nervous? He goes, I don't need to be nervous because I've properly prepared. And so if you properly take the time to prepare in your son, whether it's baseball or how to go through job interviews or how to present themselves in a social setting, as long as you properly prepare them, they will be confident because they will know, hey, I've done this before and I know how to do it. So being able to find a coach that works best with your kid or you yourself, what are the words I need to do or need to say to properly convey the message I'm trying to convey to my kids so that they can then be successful is where confidence comes from, knowing you can do the task well.
Also, one of the biggest things that we fail to realize is relaying to them things that they failed at and then they've done it. And they build their confidence.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that.
And that's something that we can use as a learning tool for them and teach them. Like maybe they had a math exam and they were afraid, they weren't prepared, and then they aced it. And you say, you see, you overreacted, you allow your fears to take control of you, and you didn't think you was going to be able to perform when you was able to perform and you was ready to perform. And that's where the mind plays a lot of tricks on you. But that's you using different type of scenario situation to install in him that confidence by giving them that positive feedback where he had failed before and he overcame that obstacle.
Right, exactly.
So that's another way of building confidence.
Yeah, I agree because it's easy to point out the negative things that happen, but when the good things happen, do you also take the time to point them out? Or even as a kid is progressing, let's say we're working on hitting. Maybe we're working on different mechanical flaws in the swing. I might see 3 flaws. We're going to work on the first one. Even though the other 2 are bad, I can say, hey, at least you got this part right. Good job. Let's keep it going. So I'm positively affirming that he is progressing, which is a big part about building confidence. Because if I don't tell him when he's doing good, he's only going to assume that he's doing bad.
Exactly. And as human beings, we're automatically in defensive mode.
Right.
So understanding that we're always in defensive mode, we have to work through that to be able to become positive and understand that through having these experiences and these challenges and overcoming them, it's what allows us to build confidence and moving forward.
Right, and a lot of that does start at home. So how is it that you're instilling that confidence in your kid with those positive affirmations in the task that they're doing? And it could be anything. It doesn't matter how old your kid is. If they're learning to do something, maybe they got to give their first speech or something and they're practicing at home. It's got to be like a 2-minute speech and they're going through their flashcards and maybe they can get 30 seconds in without looking at a flashcard. You have to celebrate those things and say, hey, you've done good. Now let's go for that next piece. But don't forget to celebrate the progress that they have made.
Right. And one of the things that I did was I would never let them use negative tone of words. Like, I can't do this.
Right.
Or I won't do this. Or I'm not capable of doing this. Because those are words that just install lack of confidence.
Right.
And once you have that, you're in a no-win situation.
Right. The power of life and death is at the tongue, so we want to be very intentional with the words that we're choosing to speak, not only to our kids, but everyone around us, because we're essentially teaching our kids how to speak to others, how we speak to ourselves. So words are a big deal, and we need to be very intentional with choosing our words, not only to our kids, to ourselves, to our friends, our families, because they're also watching and picking those things up. So even as coaches, as we coach, we always try to be positive, affirming while we're coaching them through whatever it is that we're coaching them, because why do kids come to practice if not to get better? It's not like we're expecting finished products on the field. Even professionals are constantly working and getting better.
Right. And it goes to the parents too, because like in my experience with coaching, I've had parents tell me, well, we talked about this, but I didn't think it was going to happen to my son. Why not?
Right.
Why wasn't it going to happen to your son? Your son is no different than the next guy.
Right. Could you give us an example?
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. Like, we coach a team where it was 11 to 13-year-olds, and they're pretty much surrounded by a really good school. It was 12 kids on the team, and all 12 of them went to the same school.
Yeah.
And I told them one day, look around each other. There's 12 of you. How many of you think are going to play at that school?
Right.
I said to them, because bottom line, you're competing against one another.
Yep.
And you have to understand that that's just the way life is.
Right.
There's only so many spots and opportunities on that team, and not all of them, some of them play the same position. Some of them will infield, some will outfield, some will pitchers. So you have to understand, even though your teammates and your friend, there's still a level of competition. And by building that confidence in them and understanding that and realize you give your son an advantage. Those kids that don't have that
Right.
opportunity. And that's one of the things, like I was telling a parent the other day, me and him was talking, and we reminisced back to the conversation. Like, he goes, man, I said, I was trying to warn you. It's not this. I said, I went through it. I have a 32-year-old son that I experienced stuff like that with.
Right.
So why would you not listen?
Right. Yeah, so I think that is a big deal, just understanding the power of your words and then how to properly get your kids prepared for whatever the task might be.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about how to be confident. Let's talk about some of the benefits to being confident and how not being confident can hurt your son, your athlete.
Okay.
So let's start with someone who maybe lacked confidence and how it hurt them.
Perfect example, the gentleman we worked today.
Right.
We had a kid that we worked today. At the beginning of the week, he struggled. He had a game. He actually for him was a bad game, he thought.
Right.
I didn't think it was a bad game, but in his mind, since he was struggling, he started out slow. He was starting to lack that confidence and that ability, and he see his numbers not good. So he was just pressing and focusing on the numbers.
Right.
When that's the worst thing you can do.
Right.
As a player.
Right.
You have to understand that the game is a long season.
Yep. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right. And he has 25 games in his schedule, 25, without playoffs.
Right.
So he's only played 6.
Right.
So you still got 19 more games.
Right. Still early in the season.
Right. And he still thinks he needs to make it all up in one game.
Right.
So he was lacking confidence. He calls me, oh, coach, this is going on. So I'm like, relax, dude, you have time. You still have just one step at a time. And the next day comes. He has a really good game. Now it boosts him up.
Right.
So us having that conversation and me giving him that confidence to believe, and as a parent, that's your responsibility right there.
Right.
And that's very important. When your son comes home and has that attitude or doesn't want to talk to you, now you're going to know, stop. You leave that outside. That's not your job. That's just a game. That's not a life and death situation.
Right.
That's not your responsibility as far as where you're making money to be able to. You play the game because you enjoy playing the game and you want to do well and you want to build a future. You have to understand that failure comes to that. And by you teaching him that, then he's going to change his whole attitude about it. His confidence level just goes up.
Right.
Automatically, just based on that.
Right.
So knowing for you to do that for that kid, for your son or for whoever, helps you and helps him become more confident and gives him the ability to go back up the next day and say, oh, I'm starting new today.
Right.
And that's the benefit of it.
Right. That was good. I think it's important too, like you said, to understand how do we frame failure or struggling. Because that's, as a parent, that is part of our job. Changing our athlete, our kids' perspective, to a perspective that benefits them, not one that hurts them. And so when you understand what is the goal, okay, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, It's one game, it's two games, it's okay. How are your at-bats looking? How do you feel? Okay, now we can shift perspective and give them a perspective that can actually help them versus hinder them.
And again, like he said, it's just the way you word it, right? Doesn't mean you have to sugarcoat it.
Right.
Doesn't mean you got to be soft.
Right.
You got to be realistic, though, and ask them, okay, did you try your best? Did you put yourself in a successful situation? If the answer is yes, then you know, okay, there's nothing we can do. But if the answer is no, and he's telling you that he's afraid, then that's when you question, why were you afraid?
Right.
What made you afraid?
Right.
And then you can tackle that problem, that issue, and eliminate it. It's all about eliminating everything that goes in their head.
Right.
And just sticking to the game, the plan that he has with his hitting coach, pitching guy, whatever. It's just understanding there's a formula to everything. It's a solution to everything.
All right, so let's talk about someone who's been confident.
Well, we had another guy that was pretty much confident.
Yeah.
But
despite how he was doing, because he wasn't doing great.
No, he wasn't doing great, but he had confidence.
Yes, he knew he was good, even though he hadn't been good.
Right. But he also understood that when he came to help, when he came to seek help, he was willing and able to not only listen, he was all in.
Right.
And didn't even know us.
Right.
And that's what makes a special individual.
Right.
When he's all in and just says, come say, nah, whatever you guys say, whatever you do, I'm going to trust and I'm going to believe in and I'm going to go after it.
Right.
Even though he was confident, he knew that he should have been playing.
And that he should have been doing better than he had already done.
Right, because he had previous history of doing well.
Yeah.
At that moment, he lacked the confidence in the sense that things weren't going. He lost his starting job and all. So he knew the coach wasn't going to give him another opportunity unless he changed some stuff.
Right.
And that's realizing as a player who you are, what you need to do and become to get that situation back in your favor, but also keeping that confidence and not allowing somebody to knock you off that pedestal where you lose that confidence.
Right, because even though he wasn't doing well, he believed, I know I might not be doing well right now, but I'm still that guy.
Right.
And I'm going to get out of it. It's just a matter of time or getting the help that I need.
Yeah, and it made it easier for us to work with him.
Right.
Because he knew, and then it started opening up his mind where he goes, oh, I see this, what you're saying now. I couldn't see it back then, but I see it now, and they allow him to become better. He came back, took over his starting job, led the team in hitting.
Yep, and he had 3 or 4 other D1 commits on his team, and he out-hit all of them.
Outperformed every one of them.
Yep.
To the point where he took his team to the regional quarterfinals and hit a walk-off of a kid that was actually committed to a high D1 school.
Right.
And that's, again, that's having confidence in knowing, not letting the stage be too big, but understanding enough that I say, okay, I'm in a slum, so I need to seek help, so I'm going to go out of my way to get that opportunity and reinforce what I know I'm good at and know that I'm good, and surround myself with the people that's going to help me build myself back up.
Right, which is huge.
Yeah.
And that's something we rarely see as coaches today.
Yeah.
And again, as parents, you got to figure out what is the way to keep your kid confident. Because in one scenario, the first one, it hindered him and it actually made his drought last longer. But in the second one, the kid knew he was good, even though he maybe wasn't performing to the best of his abilities at that moment. But it kept him hungry and he got out of it quicker than later.
Yes.
And so, all right, so now let's focus on somebody who was maybe overconfident.
And this is like, we had a kid that was at a small school, right? And he was being noticed by scouts and all.
Well, when we met him, he was already committed to a D1 school.
That is true.
He was already committed to
D1. Which I failed to mention. Not only was he committed, but then he started getting noticed from pro scouts.
Yes.
And instead of staying at the school that he was, because it was
a smaller school
with less coaching staff and all.
Yeah, not the best baseball team.
Right. He went after
bigger
school.
Yep.
Which hindered him.
Yes.
Because when the spotlight got bigger, he wasn't able to perform like he should have been performing if he would have maintained his same confidence level when he went over there.
Right. Right. He got exposed to a lot of different things.
Yeah. And then eventually became a pitcher instead of the position player that he was.
Right.
And we hit this with this guy to the point where other people, like professional guys that I was hitting with, like they thought he was a problem.
Right, I remember that. We took him to hit on a field with a few other pro guys, and he ended up actually dropping bombs like crazy. And the professionals there asked him, "Oh, what team do you play for?" Because they thought he was a professional. They could not believe that this kid was a high school kid, and he was only a junior in high school at this time. This is before he transferred to his next school, which would be a better school. And things maybe didn't work out the best because he changed a situation he was in. He was overconfident in his ability to adapt to a new environment. And so it ended up hindering him versus helping him.
Right. And that's just what we talked about in our last episode. Going for the bigger name,
Right.
the big opportunity.
Right.
When in reality, all you have to do is just continue to play. If you're good enough, trust me, as scouts, we will find you.
Right.
And that's just a fact.
Right.
Understanding that and believing that and knowing that you're putting in the work, somebody's going to take notice.
Right.
Somebody will take notice. And as parents, as players, and as coaches, you have to all be in the same page and motivating your kid, and not only motivate, but giving them installing confidence, because this game is hard. We
Right.
both know that.
Right. And so understanding the little things that you have to do to instill that confidence by celebrating the little wins. Not just only focusing on what went wrong, but what are the things that are going right, and just building, allowing them to see that they are progressing. Even if they're not where they want to be yet, the ability to notice that, hey, I'm getting better, will keep their confidence high and keep them motivated to keep going.
Now that we share about how you gain confidence and how you lose confidence, do you want to share our experience?
Yes. And so I'll share with you our father and son experience, because again, we're here to let you know our lessons so you can learn from them. And so when I was coming out of high school, I was super confident. I felt like I had finally figured out my swing. I was finally able to be consistent with it. It was something I was very proud of and worked very hard to achieve. So my dad did a good job of sending me off to college in a very confident state of mind. And when I got there, I did very, very well. Unfortunately for me, I did well, but my coach didn't really see me adding the value that I thought I would add as a player. And so because of that, I essentially got told I had to change a lot of things, but I wasn't shown how to change those things, which is a good learning lesson for a parent. If you want to ask your child to do something, make sure that you also know how to show them to do the thing you're asking them to do. It's very unfair for you to ask somebody to do something that you yourself cannot teach them to do. Especially if you can't do it, and then it's your job to find someone to do it, especially if you're going to ask them to do it or give them consequences for not being able to do so. Okay. And so I lost my confidence after being very confident. And I had come back home. I had gone a year, my freshman year of college. I didn't get to play. And I didn't want to play anymore. I wanted to take the summer off. But my dad thought I should play. And I'll let you take over.
Right, and the reason why I thought he should play, because
I didn't play.
Because he didn't play, exactly. So when I thought I was helping him, I was actually hurting him.
Right.
And it didn't allow us to see eye to eye.
Right, we argued a lot.
We argued a lot, we came into disagreement, and I'll let him finish the rest of the story.
Yeah, so essentially it was tough because I was feeling burnt out from my experience in college. Even though I didn't get to play, I still had I had to be around a game that I love to play without being able to play it. And my coach had made certain assertions of my team where had he been correct, I would have been fine not playing, because it would have meant that his belief about my teammates was right, and they would have excelled much more than whatever they did. That turned out not to be a case, and so I also felt like I was robbed of an opportunity. And so I wanted to transfer out of the school, but I was on scholarship. My dad thought it was a really good opportunity, so he didn't want me to leave.
And understanding something, and I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I just want to interject.
Yeah.
You have to, as a parent, understand. You understand the situation, the opportunity. That's fine.
Right.
But more importantly, we have to understand your kid's feeling. And I failed to understand his feeling and what he was trying to convey. And when I did that, I put him not in a good situation.
To be successful.
Where I could have help them better to be that. And again, that's why we share what we share.
Right, because it makes sense too. I was on scholarship. It's not like our family is a family who went to school all the time. So going to college was a big deal. And then to get the opportunity for somebody to help pay for your education was huge. So he didn't want me to lose that. But it ended up not being good for me mentally, being there and being in the situation I was in. So when I came home, I just said, I just want to practice and lift weights. Because that was one of the critiques I got in college was I needed to hit for more power. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to work on my swing, which I thought was really good already. And then go ahead and just put on as much size as I can so I can hit the ball harder and farther. Unfortunately, we went with playing. I didn't want to play, and then I struggled more playing because I wasn't really mentally prepared to play. And because I didn't do well, my confidence went lower and lower with each game that I didn't do well. It made us go disagree on a lot of things because we couldn't decide what drills to do, how to properly go about fixing the swing. What is my approach wrong? Is my timing wrong? It was just disagreement on a lot of different things because I think as a player, I felt like I wasn't able to communicate my feelings because it didn't matter. I was just going to be told what to do anyway. And then going out there, which is this helped form how my coaching methodology, where I am a collaborator. I'm going to collaborate with my athlete because I want them to be confident when they step out there on the field that what they've chosen to do is what they believe in. And so that's kind of the experience we had that with where confidence not having it hurt me. Because when I had it, I did very well. But when I didn't have it, I kind of spiraled and I never really got it back as far as playing goes. And so that's what we want to help you avoid, that kind of situation. Because there's a lot of kids out there who can be good, who can go play baseball in college, who can get a great education from the game of baseball, maybe get drafted and make a lot of money, whether you make it to the major leagues or not, but it can afford you a lot of opportunities, and that's what we want to provide you guys with.
Right, and understanding that aspect allows you and your son to build even a stronger relationship. And by building that stronger relationship, then there's nothing they can keep from you.
Right.
And they won't keep from you.
Right.
It helps build that bond, that trust even more.
Right.
And understanding that it's what allow us to overcome that situation.
Right.
And do the Father and Son
Ball
Club
right.
podcast. Because now we have a way better understanding. We're able to collaborate together and making sure that we're giving the right information for you guys to make the right decisions, or at least educate you guys in our experiences and through our journey to be able to put your sons in the right situation. Because ultimately what it comes down to is what benefits your son.
Right.
In that moment, I fail as a parent in the sense that I fail because I just looked at the big picture. I also wanted him to understand that, you need to overcome challenges. Yeah, you do need to overcome challenges, but there's a certain point too that you have to understand.
Right.
And realize that, not all challenges need to be overcome right then and there.
Right. I think that was good too because, again, maybe that was a situation where I should have left the school versus staying there trying to prove someone wrong. Because you're gonna have to face that. You guys, when your kids play on travel teams, when they go to certain high schools or a certain college, the coach might have an opinion of your kid that may not accurately reflect who he is as a player or an athlete, and you may have to make the decision to, hey, no hard feelings, but maybe this isn't the best place for my kid, and I'm going to move him somewhere else.
And even if he doesn't want, because sometimes in reality, kids want to be with their friends, and just because they want to be with their friends, it doesn't necessarily mean you allow them to stay there and let them feel and get frustrated and lose that confidence, because it's a trickle-down effect.
Right.
When you lose your confidence, you also lose your way of doing things in just general everyday life.
Yeah, just self-belief.
Yeah, so you
workplace,
don't want that.
School, baseball, it doesn't matter.
Because it affects your emotion. And once it starts affecting your emotion, now it affects how you eat, how you sleep, how you want to go about your schooling. And then your response is, oh, I'm going to be tough around home. And when in reality also, that hurts them too. So it's a fine line. We're not trying to tell you how to
raise your kids.
Let's get that straight.
Right.
We're just sharing our experiences to help you guys be more successful and put your kid in a situation that's going to make them benefit.
All right, guys, if you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, join our free school community. The link will be down in the bio below. Till next time.